Another week of tin goodness has come and gone, and we got to talk about this week's goodies. Make sure you guys smash leaving crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more Rouse content. So fresh off of today's announcement, we actually got the announcement for the Dark Magician Girl and the Harpy's Feather Duster being available in this set as our alt arts. Now, last week we had the Alistair the Invoker actually getting announced, and then for whatever reason, we just went to the Dark Magician Girl and Harpy's Feather Duster. So now I'm kind of curious if we are going to see the Juggernaut Libby and those cards being ported into the set, because I figured that we would be doing sets of these following up. But the fact that Konami said, hey, here's your Invoker, here is your Invocation, or, the Invocation and the Nakaba, all that little fun stuff, that was cool. But the fact that they went, hey, here's Dark Magician Girl and Harpy's Feather Duster, I am slightly curious about this. Now, obviously, there's going to be value in both the Harpy's Feather Duster and the Dark Magician Girl, especially if both of these do get QCRs in the set. Let's call it what it is. I do think the Dark Magician Girl is a selling point to this set. Now, that all being said, though, is it going to be like a major push through? I wouldn't think that your expected value would be too high on this, because the last Dark Magician Girl that we had get printed in the tins as an alt art didn't have a crazy amount of money. I think it was like, was it $20 at its pinnacle of value? And this is technically Harpy's Feather Duster's third art. You gotta remember, you have the TP art from way back in the day and the original art. So, and I haven't really heard a lot of people really desiring the art for this. So both of them are good cards, don't get me wrong, but both of these will be very cheap. If you're looking at long-term secondary market value, it's not going to happen. It's very unfortunate for that. Now, one of the biggest things that we did get this week was the transaction rollback confirmation for the tins. Now, the fact that Konami opened up Pandora's box basically here and said, hey, we're giving you transaction rollback. If you did pay attention to the market watch over the last couple days, you've seen this card do a downward spiral on into the ground, which is good. If we're already seeing transaction rollbacks hitting, $14, $15 pre that reprint, you're going to see a great frustration and a great divide amongst the community as this card, does its thing. It does need a QCR. I think this thing it only had a collector's rare, which such a cluster pile of nonsense when we got that. But you got to remember, Bonfire's now up on the chopping block for the tins, because we did do the huge announcement for this. So I was actually getting ready to pick up for the Slife for the Sky Dragon deck, this thing, because I want to play, fun stuff with this. I don't actually own transaction rollbacks. I've been borrowing them. So the fact that Konami did this and said, hey, here's this, and then with the insinuation of this being in here, Bonfire's already up for that reprint. What is it, like February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September? That is technically 8 months after its release, and I won't have to listen to anybody go, well, I can't afford transaction rollbacks anymore. If all is said and done, after this is possibly, at its best value, you can probably get those rollbacks. I'm hoping, I really am hoping here, $5, like on the crazy high end things. Maybe 10, but you want these cards to be affordable so people can have fun with them. All right, I know it's a crazy concept. Thrust also got announced for the reprint this week in the tins. I know we won a quarter century of this, if I recall. For whatever reason, Thrust has not had its fair share of, high rarity application yet. The other thing is, Triple Tactics Thrust has been one of these cards that we have looked at over time and we're like, yeah, this thing needs to go to 1. I think most of us still kind of stand by that. It's going to rotate in and around formats because the card is really, really strong. Like, if anybody looks at Thrust and goes, yeah, this card is, not broken at all, Not in the current format. This is going to be one of those cards like Talents that is going to strictly depend on how the format is shaping up to get you to any power card that you're going to need. As of filming this, Ultimate Thrust are $43. Think about that for a second. A card that was at its time at such a high point. I think Ulti Thrust were near 90 to 100 at some point. And then actually they were 70. Okay, I'm a little bit off. Well, you've lost $25 in value over the long haul out here. Looking at the spin down on Thrust, that's kind of crazy to think about out here. But once again, card doesn't have a QCR yet, and with Bonanza right around the corner, I mean, we could see Thrust tossed in there, and then slash there goes all your value. Thrust is one of the only remaining cards that I feel like is kind of holding its place out here as a noteworthy piece in the meta. So hey, at least this is your warning sign to get rid of your Thrust if you actually have them. We also saw, what was it, last Sunday? So every Sunday leading up to the tins, we are getting 3 cards that are receiving, Rarity upgrades, according to Konami. Yeah, what is it? Saturday is the alt arts, Sunday is the Rarity upgrades, and then Tuesday, Thursday, and then, whatever. It's a cluster pile out here. Delicious Memory getting an upgrade. Actually, all 3 of these cards getting upgrades will have really, I would be honest with you, if you're looking at these cards, you're like, hey, Delicious Memory getting an upgrade, sure. It's not going to cost you a lot. It's an Ultra, probably $1. Very realistically, it's not like a high-end purely card, but sure. Unchained Soul of Shyama, I mean, this thing was a one-of across the board in every single deck out here that has ever, I feel like, chosen to play it. Maybe the full Unchained deck might have tried out. No, because it was 3 red, 1 blue. And even Tier was the only one that played this. So us getting the Rarity upgrade for this should be sub $1, if that. So that's giving you 2 cards. And then Dynamondo out here, unfortunately, the current status of, Voiceless, Voice and Friends, is an absolute dumpster fire. And as much as I want to go, hey, it'd be kind of cool to see, you got another sub $1 card here. Rarity upgrades are good. Cheaper Rarity upgrades will continue to help out a lot of the secondary market and keep people, I would say, very, very happy. And I'm very curious to know which Rarity upgrades we're going to get tomorrow, because it does show that, putting things into Ultra slots is a very good thing. Konami's learning. Don't just, if you print low rarity things, you better get ready to upgrade them. Alright, and then we have our confirmation of our cover cards. We've been getting, 2 a week for this? A little bit absurd at the rate we're moving, but the Blue Eyes White Dragon and the Winged Karibo, I haven't really touched on these, but the Winged Karibo, I think, was kind of a cool thing. The Blue Eyes White Dragon original art was good. Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, yeah, as much as people, might be dogging on the dip down in the price for this, it needed it. I'm happy to see that we're going to be getting a potential QCR for this. That's really good. Utopia Double also needed the reprint. I know, the casual player wants the cheap OTK cards so that they can actually play the game. Now, the questionable stuff here was, Terror Top, but you also have to remember, the TCG really promoted Terror Top. They were like, hey, Speedroid players, you can have this, but also to the Goblin players, to all the rank 3 toolbox players out here, you had something with this, and Konami wants you to be able to have that. And then Pankratops got mentioned out here for the Brains era. I think that was the craziest one to me, but Pankratops does need a QCR reprint. He does have the CR, which is $100+, or was $100+, for the longest time, so about to watch that value get slashed down the middle. All of the value that I've seen so far for these tins, it is a 400 card set. I'm not going to hold back any punches, but you got a long ways to go. But they are putting value in here, and they are reprinting a lot of the high-end stuff, and that's what you want to see right now. So that's our tin recap of the week. Oh boy, please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys.
Patrons!
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.